Do you believe that the Russian military and the Russian leadership still plans to wage war against the United States?
Come on. Okay, I'm sorry. Because it's well known for me, well known for specialists. Of course, it's not known for American public. Why, I don't know. But let's say that recently, only a couple months ago, Russian Strategic Air Force Command had very, very big field exercises. And in time of this maneuvering, during several weeks, Russian military command trained military personnel for the future war against the United States of America.
All right.
Last week it was Navy exercises in Northern Fleet, and they trained Russian military personnel for the war against America and American friends and allies, first of all by NATO organization.
Stan, hold it right there. We'll be back to you after the break. Stanislav Lunev is Russia's highest-ranking military defector in history, and he is also my guest right now. He defected to the U.S., ostensibly here spying as a TASS news agency correspondent. Met doesn't like Yeltsin, believes that Russia is planning a war against the U.S., still planning a war against us. I asked him about that. He said, "Are you kidding?" And of course, I'm not kidding. We're going to probe into this area in just a moment. All right, once again, here is Stan. Stan, welcome back to the program.
Here.
You still awake okay?
Yes.
Good. You know, I want to, before we get back into this war thing, I want to ask you one very important question. Earlier in the interview, I asked you why you defected. And you said because you could no longer do the job that you were doing, spying, for the corrupt people that you were working for. Now, maybe this would be hard for you to answer, but if there was not corruption, if there was pure communism, maybe there is no such thing, but if there was if it was pretty much a pure communism, would you still be there?
During the last several years, I had a chance to look through the history, read a lot, and I found that actually in real life it's impossible to have pure communism.
That's right.
And people who will cover themselves like communists, but anyway they will follow their own agenda, and in this case to believe that it's possible to have some kind of communism, no, it's impossible.
Impossible. Many of us also think impossible to have pure capitalism.
But in this country you do have much more socialism than we did have in former Soviet Union.
Oh, really?
Yes, and you know that your government from time to time is really concerned about its own people and trying to assist people who are in very bad shape financially, economically, you know, your welfare programs and social security benefits. So in this country you have much more socialism that we did have it in the former Soviet Union.
Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. Do you know, of course, what MAD is, mutual assured destruction?
Mm-hmm.
You said that Russia still plans a war against the United States. What has always kept us from war is the fact that we would all kill each other mostly and poison the planet and commit suicide because of so many nuclear weapons. Now, if Russia still believes that it will have a war with the United States, how does it believe it will survive such a war?
Art, it's very difficult to say that Russia itself, but let's say Russian people, ordinary Russians, they don't care about this future war. They're thinking how they can survive in this very terrible situation in this country now.
Oh, yes.
And actually, in general, Russian people, they do not have some kind of hostile feeling against America or against Americans. We do have so many common together in history, in culture, the same human values.
That's right.
And if you will return back for several years before, you will find that we had approximately the same social situation,
yes.
Not political, but America. America is our planet in miniature, and in this country we do have dozens of different nations, nationalities, color of skin, races, and all these people are living and working together, sometimes with big problems, with small problems, but what family can exist without problem? I don't know this family.
All right, I do understand about the Russian people, but we are talking about the Russian government, or we are talking about what communists are left in the Russian government. If they plan a war, how do they plan?
But yes, you're right. But Russian government, they don't care about country, people. They care about themselves only, and about much more money in their pocket, how it's possible. And for future survival in possible and future war between Russia and other world, they prepare themselves to exist for many, many years after this terrible thing that could be happen with our planet. Let's say that under Moscow there is one more city, underground city. It's special bunkers for leaders of Russian Federation and their families. And in Siberia, Ural Mountains, under construction there is very big underground city by the size of Washington D.C. Beltway. Can you imagine this underground city? It's huge. And it would be bunker where Russian elite can survive if our planet would be destroyed for a long period of time.
In America, we have pretty much a free press. In other words, anybody can report almost anything. I'm a great example of that. I talk about all kinds of wild things here. So, why is this information not widely known, do you think, in America?
I don't know. I don't know, because for me it's really surprised that American people know so little about hostile countries' military plans for the future war against America.
Well,
for me it's surprised why America does have free press, and free press doesn't pay any attention for this real danger for the national security, not of this only this country, but for the international community.
Okay, but in security work, Stan, you look at a country's, number one, capabilities, what they can do, and number two, what are their intentions? What do they want to do? Russia, of course, has the capabilities, as you said, many thousands of nuclear weapons. But how can we believe their intentions? By looking at these underground cities that are preparing for war? What else can we look at?
I remember that this news that the Russian government has this huge construction in Ural Mountains. It was some kind of several news about this once, and special hearing in Capitol Hill. But why American public doesn't know about this once, I don't know.
The American public thinks the intentions of Russia are good.
I don't think so, because if you will follow events in Russian Federation, you will find that intentions of Russian government are not very good. Let's take every crisis which happened in the international community during last several years, and you will find that Russian government position usually is very different from American position.
Yes.
You will find that in time when the whole world is worried about non-proliferation of mass destruction weapons, you will find that in any violation of non-proliferation regime, Russian government is involved. And you will find that actually all promises made by Russian Federation government and President by himself, all these promises and obligations were violated by the same government in case of nuclear technology transfer to Iran, Iraq, to missile technology, the same Iran, North Korea and other countries. So in real life, promises, yes, they are promises, but they are not fulfilled.
All right, Stan,
so how to believe it?
Yes, I want to ask you this. I have business dealings with some Russians. Now, I don't want you to be insulted by what I'm going to ask you, but I have business dealings with some Russians who have factories in Russia, and that's all I want to say, but I have dealings with them, and what I have found is that Russian business people, as a normal part of what I believe their culture is, lie. Now, they lie about small things. You would ask them, did you make a shipment? And they would say yes, automatically. Lie. And is that part of Russian culture?
No. No. Strong no.
Strong no.
Strong no, because it's not in nature of Russian to lie, but it's nature of so-called new Russians.
New Russians?
New Russians, which appeared in time of the USSR destruction and creation of so-called democratic Russia. People which are people who follow example of their president and lie every other time when it's possible.
So that is who I am dealing with, is the new Russians. I'm sure that is true. Are these the people in Russia now that we think of as the capitalists, the ones who are making money, the few that are making money?
No, just now there are tens of thousands of people who are existing on so-called business, who try to make money from everything where it's possible, and usually cheating each other. But this is the beginning of capitalism, and in time when Russians themselves name their capitalism, you know how do they name it? Capitalism Jurassic Park style.
Jurassic Park style.
Jurassic Park style, yes. They, of course, trying to make business by cheating people, lying somewhere and everywhere and to everybody. But what can you expect from country which under control of modern strange government, under control of absolutely unresponsible people?
Well, we hear rumors in the United States of 100 Russian suitcase-size nuclear weapons. That 100 of those are someplace. And, of course, with all the money trouble in Russia, we worry that other nuclear weapons have left Russia and are going to the hands of terrorists around the world. Do you believe that is happening?
Not now. Because these tactical nuclear devices, named by nuclear briefcases, they were designed in former Soviet Union by Special Operation Forces commanders, and could be used by these commanders on the hostile territories in time of future nuclear war against targets which are highly protected and cannot be destroyed by regular nuclear missile strike. But they are in hands of Special Operation Forces commanders, not terrorists, and could be used only by the request of Russian Federation government. To believe that international terrorists will get an access to these devices, I don't believe it, and according to my information, these devices are in hands of military, not terrorists. And for international terrorists to get this access, it would be extremely difficult or impossible.
You think the same thing is true of chemical weapons and biological weapons?
Yes, because these types of weapons could be used Special Operation Forces commanders in time of war, and absolutely the same way as conventional weapon systems.
Here in the United States, during Ronald Reagan's administration, we had a very big military buildup. The Soviet Union began to fall apart about when President Reagan was talking about Star Wars, about the Star Wars program. That's about the time that the Soviet Union began to fall apart and break apart. Do you believe that the threat of an arms race into space is what made the Soviets finally say, we can't afford this anymore, so we've got to go underground?
You mean from movement of arms race from space to underground?
Well, I mean that President Reagan was talking about spending so much money putting up this Star Wars that many people in America believe that the Soviets looked at what he was doing and said, look, we just cannot afford to keep up anymore, so we give up.
I remember that time, and I remember this Star Wars program and all other American military programs. It was competition between two different systems, between two different camps, and actually, as a result of Reagan administration strategy, not only as a result of his strategy, but his strategy segregated process of the USSR disintegration. It was very, very powerful strategy. We worked very hard against former Soviet Union. And of course, at that time I remember that Soviet economy was overheated by these military preparations, by military build-up, and actually it was beginning of the end of communist totalitarian regime in former Soviet Union. If you ask me about President Reagan, I'm one of big fans of him, and I'm really excited of him.
Yes, me too.
It was not only me, but a lot of my former associates and my friends. We thought about Ronald Reagan as a genius.
Had a lot of respect.
American president.
A lot of respect for Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Do you think the present Russian government has a lot of respect for President Clinton?
I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea, but Americans, you are doing by yourself very many for the destruction of American presidency.
Doing for ourselves, you mean? The destruction? Yeah, it's true.
You guys are doing for yourself.
Yeah, that's a very good observation. All right, Stan, hold on. When we get back, I'm going to ask about some specific development of weapons, like seismic weapons designed to cause earthquakes, electromagnetic weapons. Did the Russians develop those? Are they testing them? Are they still developing those? And, oh yes, the war. When will the war happen? Back now to Stan. Stan, you believe that a war between what used to be the Soviet Union, Russia I guess now, and the United States is inevitable and will happen, that Russia will attack the United States. Is that clear? Is that true?
Not now, and actually I cannot see possibilities when it could be happened in future if nothing would be changed. But you know what situation is in Russia now.
Yes.
And every other day, if it happens some kind of social explosion, possibility of war would be closer.
All right. If you were advising an American president, Stan, and you saw the situation in Russia deteriorating very quickly with the wrong people taking over, would you advise our president to attack Russia first?
I cannot advise the American president to attack Russia first by the reason that I do not have in my hands information which is necessary for the decision-making process.
During the time that you were in Russian intelligence, would you have advised an American president to attack Russia first? Did you believe then that there was going to be a war, only a matter of time?
To believe that it's impossible to avoid any kind of war, but very smart politics, I don't think so, because in history it's happened many, many times when smart policy prevented war. So I cannot take responsibility for myself and advise somebody to do something if I do not have all information which is possible to have for my decision-making process.
It says, though, in your book, Through the Eyes of the Enemy, Russian military intelligence does everything it can to prepare for a war that it considers inevitable. Let me be very clear about this. The GRU, Russian military intelligence, is still recruiting agents, still preparing for war with the United States as we approach the supposedly peaceful post-war, Cold War millennium. Now, that's very clear, and it seems to suggest there will be a war. Did you write that?
And everything what is going on in Russian intelligence community now is confirming this proposal. Because military machine, it's not independent machine. It's working by the request of highest military political leadership, from requests from president. And if this government cannot afford to exist in peacetime without crisis, it's look for foreign enemies to put attention of people from domestic problems to foreign enemies activity.
Wag the Kremlin.
Yes.
Also, you said the GRU continues to train terrorists worldwide. As you can see, even though Russia no longer seems to be the direct enemy, because of a desire for profit, it remains the major threat to the U.S. through weapons, proliferation, and training. True?
True, and actually my former associates by my former agency were involved in international terrorist training for a long, long period of time. But we never named these guys as terrorists because we named them fighters for national liberation movement.
Of course.
Or freedom fighters.
Of course.
And for me and for my former associates, it wasn't very good idea to take part in training of these dangerous persons, because we knew exactly what is their real nature. And I was really pleased when in 1990 I heard about special request made by former Soviet, first and last Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev, who requested my agency to stop training of international terrorists, and we very welcomed his decision. But unfortunately in 1991, 92, 93 and later, I get news that this training is still in place. But if in time of former Soviet Union existence this training was done by political reason, to establish Soviet influence in areas of this terrorist activity, just now is going for money, because everything is for sale in Russia. Yes, for money, because last news I had about this once, it was about Aum Shinrikyo cult members. This Japanese cult which used nerves gas in Tokyo subway several years ago. And these members of this cult, they received training in one of the GRU training centers in Siberia and paid for this training.
Oh, my. That was the sarin gas attack in Tokyo.
Yes.
We have heard rumors of Russia developing laser, seismic weapons, weapons that would be developed to actually cause earthquakes, which are even better than many atomic weapons, electromagnetic and radio weapons. Development of these weapons, is it true, first, particularly about the seismic weapons? Is that true?
Are you kidding? I know that American people know so little about this hostile countries' policies, military research, development. But for me, it was well-known fact, and by the way, maybe you would be first who will know the official name of program which existed in former Soviet Union for the development of seismic or tectonic weapons. Name of this program was Mercury 18th.
Mercury, let me be sure I've got it right.
Mercury 18th, 1-8.
Mercury 18.
Yes.
And this was, what was the idea? Do you know how they could, was it a strategic placing of nuclear devices to cause...
No, because seismic weapons is absolutely different type of weapons, and using seismic energy, natural energy, which is existing in real life permanently, and direct this energy to concrete places in concrete time to organize earthquake, natural earthquake. No nuclear connections. Yes, first researches which were done in this direction, they were connected with nuclear tests, and Soviet scientists found connection between nuclear tests and earthquakes. But later development was absolutely not connected with nuclear explosions and concentrated of natural use of seismic energy.
Wow. Mercury 18. And so this was a different way to create earthquakes, using
special machines to concentrate seismic energy on concrete places and organize natural earthquake in these places.
Do you know if this was actually done?
Yes, it was done, and let's say in the mid-80s, as a result of tests of these weapons, not very big city, Spitak, was destroyed in Trans-Caucasus region. Several villages were destroyed, and I heard that last test was done in February of this year.
February of this year.
In Chechnya, when Some people try to organize earthquake in Chechen capital city of Grozny, but I don't think that this test was successful because instead of really big earthquake, it was a very small earthquake, about 2-3 degrees by Richter scale.
Okay, I would like to take a couple of calls, and I need to think about what you just said to me. On my first-time caller line, you're on the air with Stan and Art. Where are you, please?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, my name is Miloš. I'm calling from New York City.
Yes, sir.
It's a great show, and I have a question for Stanislav. We know that America and Russia are really in a good shape right now, but Mr. Lunev never mentioned anything about China. China is their closest neighbor, hostile neighbor, and he never mentioned anything about China. I mean, what would be the reason for Russia to attack the USA?
It is an interesting point, and he did some intelligence work in or near China, so we will ask him. Are you Russian yourself?
No, I'm from, 15 years ago it used to be Yugoslavia. Right now I don't know what it is. I'm sure.
Right now nobody knows.
Yep.
Okay, Stan, China, it's a good point. China is not a large nuclear power, but a substantial nuclear power. And if there were a war between the United States and Russia, if Russia attacked the U.S., what do you think China would do?
You know that now there are no some kind of ideological disputes between Russian Federation and China, which had place in time of Soviet Union existence. And actually, just now there are no any kind of very special problems in the relations between two countries, because all these problems were resolved during last 10 years, include border problems.
Yes. And
relations between two countries just now are very good. And by my point of view, and not only my, but some specialists, relations between Russia and China are so good that it's possible to expect that in nearest time it would be some kind of military alliance between Russian Federation, so-called democratic Russia, and totalitarian China, military ally directed against United States and Americans, friends and allies everywhere. So to propose that it could be some kind of real war between Russia and China, no, I don't think so. They're very close together. They already have secret agreement for intelligence cooperation against United States and other Western countries. They do have integrating military machines, military industrial complexes, and if it could be happened and military alliance would be in place, I think that China and Russia will stay together against American imperialism.
Here in American imperialism. Here in America, many people think we have two governments. That we have one secret government and one very public government. Do you believe that in Russia there are really two governments, one that we see with Boris Yeltsin sometimes, and another government behind the scenes that is still holding all the power?
No, I don't think so, because this government, which you can see President Yeltsin and around him, is real government, corrupted, connected with criminals, but it's real government.
But it's a real government. A real corrupted government.
Yes. And Yeltsin, by the way, a couple years ago, he need to recognize openly that just now Russia is a criminal state. And, of course, he didn't mention about himself, but everybody include himself in this criminal system.
Okay. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Stan and Art. Hi.
Hi.
Yes, sir?
I'm calling from Carmichael, California.
Yes, sir?
I just wanted to say Russia has something to offer the world, and that's holy orthodoxy. And that Mother God is watching over the Orthodox people.
All right, well, actually, okay. There is now a revival of religion in Russia.
Yes.
Is it a strong revival, and is it some reason for hope that we will not, it will not come to a war between our two nations?
Actually, your second proposal is most correct, because it's not so much revival of religion, but it's hope of people to find some kind of way for future.
Yes.
Because in their current life, they suffering too much, and there is no any kind of ideology, nationwide ideology in Russia, and people return back to religion, trying to find a way how to express themselves and found themselves in our world. And Orthodoxy, yes, of course, Russian Orthodox religion is still very extremely popular between Russians, but not only this religion. There are a lot of Catholics,
yes,
a lot of Jewish people, a lot of Islam people, Buddhists.
I think many Americans would be surprised how many churches are in Russia. They are every place.
Look at America, and approximately the same situation is in Russia.
That's true. What should America watch for? As we look at Russia and we watch the changes in Russia, what would be most dangerous?
Very good question, but what America needs to do in this situation? Let's say America needs to know what is going on in foreign countries, let's say in Russia, in former Soviet Union, and to recognize difference between promises and real situation,
yes,
and try to understand how to push some non-responsible people to fulfill their promises made officially and get a lot of money for this under these promises, billions of dollars, and of course to prepare itself for the protection against possible danger and possible attacks from hostile and non-friendly countries, to improve American national security system and to concentrate its system for the protection against most important dangers for this country.
Stan, we're at the top of the hour. If you would like to stay on, we can do one more hour. Many people would like to talk to you. That's up to you.
Okay.
You want one more?
Okay.
Okay, good. Stay right there. Stan, welcome back again. Russia has always been, for good reason, I believe, a very paranoid government. Very paranoid. And Russia now sees NATO expanding all around them. How do you think they are reacting to this in Moscow?
Very negative. Of course, they do not want this expansion because NATO and Western civilization, Western democracies becoming more and more closer to Russia itself.
That's right.
And they don't like it at all. And they try to explain to Russian people that American imperialism didn't change its nature, and until now Israel threat, internal foreign threat for Russia and for Russian people, and America trying to destroy Russia the same way as America destroy former Soviet Union. Of course, this is propaganda and rhetorics. Somebody believe it, somebody not. I don't think that majority of Russians believe in these ideas, because Russian people is not stupid.
But the old Russian hardline communists, they surely believe it.
You know, this hardline communists, they never believed really in ideas which were pronounced by themselves as some kind of absolutely truth. And when they're talking about this NATO extension to the east and southeast, they're using this as much more for propaganda than for real estimation of possible danger to Russia. Because you know that Russian government closed its eyes on the missile technology transfer to Iran. And if Iran will develop its own missile weapons, the first target for this missile would be southern Russia, and it would be a real threat to Russia, not mystical threat from NATO extension.
I'm going to ask you again, what should we watch for? What would be very dangerous in Russia if we saw a civil war? Would that be a very dangerous time for us here if we saw the communists begin to take over and a coup d'etat with Yeltsin out and Zhirinovsky in, or something like that? What would we watch for?
Let's say that just now is necessary to watch what's going on in Russia very attentively, because you know that Russian President Boris Yeltsin, he is not good health. Actually, he is sick, tired, and ill, and plus his well-known very bad habit. Actually, he is drunk. And every other day something could be happened with him. But if it will happen with him now, it would be constitutional crisis in Russia. And keep in mind that according to Russian constitution, he could be succeeded by his prime minister only. But in current time, when he fired former prime minister, young person, Sergei Kiriyenko 2 weeks ago, he tried to receive this parliament agreement for his old buddy, Mr. Chernomyrdin, but parliament rejected candidacy of Chernomyrdin, and just now there is no constitutional successor for president. And if something happened with Yeltsin, nobody will replace him. And in time, without power, it's very good time for very strange people come to power.
Yes. And that would be a very dangerous moment for the West.
It would be extremely dangerous moment.
Again, I'm going to ask you this question. I know it's a very hard question, but if we began to see that happening over there, and it seemed like war was inevitable eventually, wouldn't America be smart to use nuclear weapons first?
For me, once more, it's very difficult to answer this question, because I need to have information for the decision-making process. But Art, please trust me that in this country you have enough smart people who plan American activity for any possible development worldwide. And in your Department of Defense, I think there are very good plans how to react for any possible changes in Russian Federation, include possibility of coup, revolt, social unrest, and all other possible developments.
So, if Boris Yeltsin were to die today, there is no constitutional succession in place, and it would be, power would be up for grabs. Is that right?
Yes, but keep in mind one more point, that according to Russian Constitution, if something happened now with Yeltsin, his constitutional successor would be his former prime minister, which was fired 2 weeks ago.
So
the guy who was fired by Yeltsin and destroyed politically, and actually, according to Russian Constitution, he needs to be acting president. But nobody from Russian government doesn't want to recognize this fact. And of course, if you return back to 2 weeks ago, it was CBS news from Moscow that Yeltsin signed his letter for resignation. And of course, when somebody from Yeltsin office found Article 117.5 in his own constitution, he explained it to Yeltsin that if something happened with him, he would be replaced by person which was fired by Yeltsin. Of course, after this, Yeltsin immediately stepped back and said, no intentions, and I didn't sign nothing.
Do you believe he did?
Yes, in this case, everything looks like it's almost happened.
All right, back to these phone lines. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Stan and Art. Hello.
Good evening, Art and Stan.
Hi, you're going to have to yell at us, sir.
Yes, this is Wayne calling from the Great Northwest, KGX radio.
Yes, sir.
Wanting to ask Stan what knowledge he might have, if he has any inside knowledge of UFOs that perhaps the Russians have captured, and if there's been any trading of these type of items between Russia and the United States.
All right, good question. Stan, in this country,
I know.
We have many reports of objects that fly very quickly, very strangely, and people believe the government does not tell the truth about these things.
Yes, and I remember Russian newspapers' publications during last several weeks. And in all these publications, Russian specialists or people who pretend to be specialists, they are talking about that American military established contact with unknown flying objects, with aliens came to our Earth from another system, space system, and keeping them in a very secret camp in Nevada or somewhere else.
No, it is Nevada. And maybe this is even better than Star Wars, huh?
Yes, so absolutely the same situation in Russia, and same interest and attitude to unknown flying objects.
Actually, in Russia, there is a very big interest in the paranormal, isn't there?
Yes. Because Russian people who are actually sick and tired from their normal life, they are looking for something else, for something interesting, to keep this interest like support for their life.
All right, Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Stan and Art. Good morning.
Yes, I think before we talk about learning more about the Soviet Union, I think we ought to learn more about how the American government, both the open and the secret government and the corporate media, which interlocks with the military-industrial complex, subjects us to this kind of disinformation and propaganda. There's a book, one is called Unreliable Sources, another is Manufacturing of Consent by Noam Chomsky, and he says we're probably in Cold War issues the most brainwashed people in the world, because in other countries they sort of know they're getting the official line, but here it comes down as the Art Bell program or as 60 Minutes, and we don't see this propaganda. And there, I think what is going on here is a classic case of what is brought out in his book, Unreliable Sources, how so-called defectors have been used by the Central Intelligence Agency to scaremonger, to create this kind of phony threats, whether it's in Central America or the Soviet Union, to justify massive military budgets. Former CIA agents like David McMahon.
All right, I'll tell you what, sir. I think we hold it. Hold it. Stop. Pause. Take a deep breath. We've got the thrust of your question. What you're saying to Stan is that you believe he is spreading propaganda and disinformation to create a threat, to feed the military-industrial complex, ensuring it continues to get its money to build weapons systems. Isn't that right?
He's been, I'm saying that he's not the first. This has been going on for the last 15 years.
I got that, but you're saying he is one of those.
Well, there's going to be an automatic axiomatic denial, so I expect.
Well, allow him to make it. You make the accusation, let him make the denial. All right?
I like to respond. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Stan?
Art, if I understand right, it's not question, it's statement.
Well, yeah, it's accusation. He says
statement or accusation, and I can tell to this gentleman that let's say that if I would be connected with American Special Services and worked for their interests, I would be really proud of it. But just now, I am providing you my own information and not connected with any kind of political games.
Well, you know, even on Mission Impossible, even the popular public realizes if you're discovered, we will deny everything. But more than that, you talk about NATO. I think most people in this country don't know that NATO was formed nearly 7 years before the Warsaw Pact was formed. It was the Warsaw Pact was a defensive response to that. Every major buildup by the weapon system was developed by the United States, from the hydrogen bomb to intercontinental missiles, intercontinental bombers. We're far ahead of the Soviet Union. The only country that has demanded the first strike policy has been the United States. The Soviets refused a first strike and tried to get the United States to accept that. All of this attempt to project what has been a policy, as you even let slip out, they should be paranoid because the United States, along with 14 other countries, invaded the Soviet Union after the Bolshevik Revolution, and after the Second World War, Lucius Clay and elements in the Joint Chiefs had exactly this policy of a first strike against the Soviet Union, this genocidal policy that you so cavalierly throw out there. Art, it seems to me that there's never been a bombing that you've opposed except to say that enough millions of people have been killed, or we didn't use nuclear weapons. All
right, slow up for a second. Stan, he's saying that the United States is a very warlike nation, that we resort to military force all the time, as we did just recently in the attack on the terrorist camp and that factory, as we did in Iraq. That we really are the military aggressors, not Russia, and that what we're getting from you is propaganda to prop up our military-industrial complex.
First of all, I need... by the way, what's the name of this gentleman?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have a name. He's gone. He's gone now.
No. If I'm talking to somebody, I need to say...
Okay, Mr. X. We'll call him Mr. X. Okay,
Mr. X. I need to know that just now... I'm not specialist in America. I'm specialist in Russia. And just now, American military is... was downside so much that it's not compared with American military which existed 6 or 7 years ago.
Yes, but that's why Mr. X thinks you're here talking on the air now, so that we can build it back up again.
Did I tell somebody that you need to increase your military machine?
No, actually you didn't. Actually you didn't. That's right. Stan, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we've got to pause here. Hold on, we'll be right back. The highest-ranking U.S. assets once the highest-ranking USSR defector is now ours. He's here. We'll be right back. Back now to Stan. Stan, here's a really good question for you. Do you think that the KGB is still in control, or is in control of the mafia in Russia, or the mafia is in control of the KGB?
Art, first of all, I need to return back to the previous question, not question, but statement of Mr. X.
Yes.
Because a lot of people asking me how Soviet propaganda explain what does it mean American imperialism. Soviet propaganda explain America exactly like this gentleman told us in his statement, and I can, if it's possible, I would like to give him very small piece of advice. If he will chance to find my book, please read this book, and you will find a lot of answers for your questions when you will ask me next time about this ones. You will already have all possible information by this reason. About this question, connection between KGB and mafia, I need to repeat myself what I already said in the book, that Russian mafia is absolutely different from other types of mafia, from Sicilian, Colombian, and other, because it includes top-level Communist Party officials, just now former Communist Party officials,
yes,
highest-level government bureaucrats, law enforcement agencies, leaders, and top-level generals, military, many star generals, and direct criminals inside these organizations. So there is some kind of direct link between organized crime in Russia and Russian law enforcement agencies, include former KGB. You know that KGB was split for different agencies,
yes,
in 1991. After this, they were united in one agency. After this, once more split for several agencies. Just now there are 5 former KGB successors, and actually mafia has their own people in every of these state institutions, main KGB successors of our times.
So it is a great mixture, is what you're saying.
Yes, and let's say that former KGB 4-star generals are so closely connected with mafia that sometimes it's very difficult to find difference between mafia and KGB, and let's say former KGB generals, just now very legitimate businessmen, using their international connections and their people recruited by KGB intelligence officers in different countries, organize some kind of drug trafficking from Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia to Northern America through former Soviet Central Asia republics, Eastern Europe, and Latin American countries. So everything is connected, and with very small difference between them.
We have all seen many movies and many examples of Sicilian and Italian mafia. It is my understanding the Russian mafia is far more brutal. Is that true?
And its estimation of people who are inside Sicilian and Colombian mafia, because they consider themselves some kind of kids before Russian mobsters.
All right, here we go. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Stan and Art.
Hello, Art. This is Hesher from Belfair, Washington.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to touch for a moment on the weather manipulation and the HARP dealie. I had I guess it was when I was surfing one night off of a link off of your site, and I had previously read the Underground Bases and Tunnels book by Richard Sauter.
Yes.
And it kind of sparked some ideas with me, and I had heard something about America in the late 1970s that they had shipped a 40-ton electromagnet over to Russia that they were installing in a facility that was possibly linked with HAARP, and it was able to produce an electromagnetic field that was like 300,000 times more powerful than the gravity field on Earth.
Yes, well, your question is a very good one with regard to electromagnetic weapons, and the Russians were and are now working on electromagnetic weapons. Are they not, Stan?
You are right, because these weapons is some kind of weapons of future, and Soviet scientists and after them Russian scientists, they spend a lot of time and resources trying to find a way how to use electromagnetic weapons against human being in possible war. And not only this, because you already mentioned about laser weapons, and you know what's happened about 1 year ago when American pilots were blind by Russian so-called scientific ship,
yes,
which snaked around American nuclear submarines in Pacific. And you know this is about seismic weapons and very low frequency radio waves weapons, electromagnetic weapons, so it's very many new types of weapons.
Now, Russia is having a very hard time financially. They can barely keep their space station in orbit. Do they manage to come up with black budget money to continue these projects today?
And this is one of the paradoxes of current Russian life, because in time of very deep multi-site crisis, Russian government find money for development of Russian military-industrial complex. And in time when this government doesn't pay any serious attention over conventional forces in Russia, they still keep in very close control over strategic weapons development. And actually, Russian military-industrial complex just now is leading in the world in new researches and developments of new types of weapons and traditional mass destruction weapons. But this is paradox as everything is in Russia.
Well, it was always my understanding, Stan, that Russian strategic nuclear weapons, Russian submarines, all were under very tight central control in Moscow, and that they really still are today under very tight central control. What is so worrisome is that the central control is not very stable.
Good point. Yes. But in time when this control is not so stable by itself or inside itself, they are keeping very strong control over strategic armed forces, because they know that this is only one that Russian government can use for the money extortion from the West.
Our president, of course, was just in Moscow and meeting with Boris Yeltsin. And it seems like they reached some kind of arms agreement, which I'm sure you believe the Russian government will make promises about but never follow through on. I see that meeting as completely useless. Do you?
For me, this summit was strange from the beginning.
Yes.
Because I understand that American administration tried to use this summit for especially to have some kind of agreement of Russian non-participation in proliferation of mass destruction weapons, in Russian participation in liquidating of international conflicts, and for fighting against international terrorism or sanction kills. So it looks like America try to use once more direct meeting with Russian President Boris Yeltsin, asking Russia to carry not so dangerous policy which is carried now by Russian government. But from the beginning, for me, it was very strange that this meeting would be with person who is absolutely unresponsible, giving a lot of promises but never fulfill these promises. So it was fruitless from the beginning. And the result of this summit, I never saw the same summit which didn't have any practical results.
May I ask you this? During the time before you defected to this country, were you for a period of time a double agent?
What does it mean?
It means working for the Soviet Union and the United States.
No.
Never.
No.
Wildcard line, you're on the air with Art and Stan. Hello.
Hi, Art, and hi, Stan. Joe from Boston.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, and Art, I just want to say before I ask him a question, I met a guest of yours, and he said say hi to you. I don't know whether you had him on a long time ago.
Who would that be?
Oh, Showman, Jack Showman, American Computer Products.
Oh, yes, of course.
He said say hi. Okay, Stan, I have a couple questions for you. I'm a little surprised at you. First of all, I can't see, and we have the missile problem here. The Russians, Jeff Nyquist was on Art's show, and he believes, and I do too, that the military in Russia is armed to the hilt. Our military is cut back, so does Mr. Skalyan. He's explained theoretically how a war could happen, and this Y2K problem could be the start of the Russians' war, because I know Khrushchev says we're going to bury you. We have Russian soldiers. We have cut our military in half. So I'd like you to address these problems, because if this
What is your specific question?
My question is, are the Russian missiles armed and pointed at America? And when Y2K happens, is there a good chance that the Russians will start a war that's a perfect...
All right. The Y2K thing is a computer problem. There are many people who are worried about the accidental beginning of a war, and it is worth worrying about. Do you know about this Y2K big computer problem?
Yes, of course.
Well, the Russian...
But Joe asked me about Russian missiles. Are they directed against the United States?
That's right.
Officially, they are not directed. During last, I think, 6 years. But this is for general public. But for military professionals, it's well known that if computer of missile warhead had target, sometimes when, it doesn't matter when, go inside this computer, to reprogram this computer and to restore the same targets, it's necessary to spend only 1 part of second. So they could not be directed. Now, or maybe when we spoke, they could be redirected to different targets many times.
Would it be fair? Would it be fair to say that the Cold War is still going on?
Official Cold War, in this real sense of this word, finished a long time ago, and not because of Russian Federation government, but because of last and first Soviet president Mikhail Gorbachev. But unofficially, this war is still in place.
Yeah,
and it's going on by much more dangerous ways and underground in shadow, because all parts which are participating in this war using their intelligence machines, counterintelligence apparatus, and the Russian side using its organized crime connections, trying to restore its power and to find way for future dominance in the world.
Stan, I was in the American Air Force, and when the Cold War was, I was in there during the Vietnam War, during the Cold War. Would you say that when we were in the military, it was safer then than it is now? Or is it more dangerous now?
Art, I think that just now is much more dangerous, because you remember these times when you was in the Air Force. It was confrontation of two military blocks, two powers.
Yes.
And every side knew exactly that if one side will make a step, another side will make immediately counter step. And both sides cannot afford to break this balance of powers. But just now, when in Kremlin there are very unresponsible people, it's possible to expect that every other day in Russian Federation has happened something really dangerous. And if it's happened, somebody unknown will come to power and we will have real danger.
So, what then, tell me, Stan, what would you tell the American people? What would you like to tell the American people in your book, now, on the radio? What would you like to tell the American people?
Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I would like to ask American people, do not believe very old Soviet propaganda. Unfortunately, I understand that until now this propaganda is still effective and influence over some people in America. And for this country, I think is necessary to know what danger is before this country and what is the most dangerous trend which could affect American way of life. And of course, to try to do something to protect America, because if something happens with America, it will happen with fortress of democracy in the world. And America need to pay attention for their national security. I don't call you guys to spend much more money, to recruit much more soldiers, or to increase build up of your military machine. No. I'd like to ask you guys to improve your national security. In this country you have very powerful intelligence and counterintelligence community. And these people, they are real professionals. They sacrifice their life trying to protect America from all possible threats. But they do not have enough people, money and possibilities to protect everything in this country.